The 25th of December, Christmas, or Mass of Christ, is a holiday which commemorates the birth of Jesus Christ, who Christians believe is the Son of God. Christmas is one of the most celebrated and universally recognized holidays worldwide. But if Jesus were here, what would he have said about Christmas? Some might think Jesus would say, "Why are you celebrating my birthday on the 25th of December? I was not born in December." As according to the Gospel, Jesus was born most likely during the summer or springtime, when shepherds were out in the fields herding flock, which is not done in the winter. Others might think Jesus would rather speak words of love, as that is what Christmas is about, to spread joy and love to one another. But what did Jesus really say about love? Jesus said, "Love one another as I have loved you." How did Jesus love people? Did Jesus love everyone, even people who disobeyed God? Jesus said, "Ye have heard that it hath been said, Thou shalt love thy neighbor, and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies." How does someone love his enemies? How did Jesus love his enemies? Jesus loved his enemies by correcting them, by preaching to them to follow the way of God. Jesus never approved disobedience to God. Rather, he kept rebuking people for their actions, even cursing them. "You hypocrites, you evil and adulterous generation, you serpents, you generations of vipers." In fact, Jesus said, "If any man come to me, and hate not his father, his mother, his wife, children, brethren, sisters, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple." What did Jesus mean by this? Does one have to hate his father or mother, etc., even if they're following the way of God? No. Jesus says in the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, and Luke, "Who is my mother or my brethren? Behold, my mother and my brethren, for whosoever shall do the will of God, the same is my brother and my sister and mother." What did Jesus mean by this? Here, Jesus is saying anyone who serves the will of the God is related to him, and the one who does not is not related to him. Jesus is saying to fight against your own mother or father, brother or sister if they are disobedient to God, and to bring them to the way of God. Jesus is saying to be obedient to God, to follow the commandments of God, to preach the law, and correct your father or mother, brother or sister. And if they abide by the commandments of God, only then they are your mother or father, brother or sister. And for anyone to be a true disciple of Jesus, they have to follow the teachings of Jesus. Jesus said, "Think not that I am come to break the law or the prophets. I am not come to break, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." Therefore, if anyone wants to love like Jesus loved, he must follow and preach the approved way of life designated by God, and rebuke the way of life disapproved by God. And when it comes to celebrating his birth, the mother of Jesus never celebrated his birth. Jesus himself never celebrated his birth. His disciples never celebrated his birth, nor did his original and early followers ever celebrated his birth. What really is Christmas? Christmas is not found anywhere in the New Testament. Where then did the concept of Christmas come from? The answer lies in pagan traditions and rituals predating Christianity. For centuries before the time of Jesus, the winter solstice had been a significant time of the year in many cultures and had been marked by festivals and rituals. The winter solstice is the day with the shortest period of daylight and longest night of the year, and is marked by the symbolic death and rebirth of the sun, sun, not son, as the gradual waning of daylight hours is reversed and begins to grow again. In Rome, a festival in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture, was celebrated from December 17th to 23rd. In this week leading up to the winter solstice, Saturnalia would be celebrated with a temporary halt of the normal Roman social order. In this time, enslaved Roman people were given temporary freedom and treated as equals. Businesses and schools were closed so that everyone could participate in the holiday's festivity. The celebration was characterized by decorating homes with wreaths and other greenery, sacrificial rituals at the Temple of Saturn, public banquets, continual partying, and a carnival festivity involving excessive drinking, promiscuity, and debauchery. Romans spent Saturnalia gambling, singing, playing music, feasting, socializing, and giving each other gifts. Wax taper candles, novelty items, and wax figurines, known as sigillaria, were some of the gifts given, which may have referred back to older celebrations involving human sacrifice. Children also received toys as gifts. However, the roots of Christmas do not only come from Saturnalia, but also from another Roman festival celebrated around the same time. The festival of the birth of the sun god, Sol Invictus. Sol Invictus translates to unconquerable sun. It was the official sun god of the Roman Empire. The Roman Emperor Aurelian made it an official cult on the 25th of December in 274 CE. Emperors portrayed Sol Invictus on their official coinage, and this was used with particular frequency by Constantine I. Historians agree that from Aurelian to Constantine, Sol Invictus was of supreme importance in the Roman Empire. And the cult of Sol Invictus was highly regarded until Constantine abandoned Sol in favor of Christianity in 312 AD. The roots of Christmas, however, do range in other areas of Europe. For example, Germanic and Scandinavian people, who were followers of the Norse paganism, observed a winter festival called Yule or Yuletide from late December to early January. In Germany, people honored the pagan god Odin during the midwinter holiday. Germans were terrified of Odin as they believed he made nocturnal flights through the sky to observe his people, and then decided who would prosper or perish. Because of his presence, many people chose to stay inside. Many Christmas traditions today, and in fact the Christmas season, has now become synonymous to the Yuletide season after the Christianization of Northern Europe. Examples include the Christmas block or the Yule log. In recognition of the return of the sun, fathers and sons would bring home large logs, which they would set on fire. Another example is that of the Christmas ham and the Yule ham. At that time of the year, most cattle were slaughtered so they would not have to be fed during the winter. The people would feast until the log burnt out, which could take as many as 12 days or so, the 12 days of Christmas. Tree worship was common among pagan Europeans, and during the winter solstice celebration, pagan people throughout Europe, including the British Celts, made extensive use of plant decor in their homes with fir trees, ivy, mistletoe, and holly, emphasizing on evergreen plants and the pagan notion of the return of life in the dead of winter. Customs would include placing a Yule tree at the entrance or inside the house in the midwinter holidays, much like, or exactly like, the Christmas tree. So how did Christmas, or rather these pagan festivals and rituals, become part of Christianity? Festivals such as Saturnalia or the birth of Sol Invictus, etc., predates Jesus and were still in practice during the time of Jesus. But did Jesus follow any of these pagan religions or their rituals? No. Jesus was a Jew, and Jesus did not come with a new religion. Jesus practiced the same religion and worshipped the same one true God that the prophets of old, David, Moses, and Abraham worshipped. The God sent Jesus at a time when the children of Israel had strayed from the ways of God, and the monotheistic religion of God was deviating from its authenticity under the oppressive, tyrannical, polytheistic Roman power. Jesus came to restore the religion of God to its purity. He preached, "The scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not." And Jesus preached that he had not come to break the law, but to fulfill it. For verily, till the heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Jesus preached to the children of Israel and called them back to the pure monotheistic religion of God, to worship none but the one true God, and to believe in the day of judgment. Hence, the original disciples of Jesus too lived their lives in accordance to God, and did not disobey God's commandments or approved polytheism or polytheistic rituals. And they never celebrated observances like Saturnalia or the birth of Sol Invictus, which they considered pagan and polytheistic. However, it was after Jesus, the monotheistic religion of God continued to get corrupted under pagan polytheistic power. And it was in 312, after the pagan Roman Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity, he adopted existing pagan rituals and customs such as Saturnalia and Sol Invictus, etc., into Christianity in attempts to Christianize pagan Rome. And the first Christmas feast was held on December 25th in Rome in 336 AD, replacing the festivals of Saturnalia and Sol Invictus, after Christianity had become the empire's official religion. And as Christianity spread throughout Europe, the Church followed suit in efforts to convert more pagans to Christianity by adopting aspects of their pagan beliefs and customs. Thus, Christmas has become a concocted mixture of various ancient pagan traditions and rituals, which has no connection with Jesus or the religion of Jesus and his original followers. So what would Jesus say about Christmas? If Jesus were here, Jesus would not have approved the celebration of Christmas, but rather would rebuke Christmas for its pagan polytheistic aspect, and similarly, he would have rebuked associating his birth to the worship of the one true God. Therefore, a follower of Jesus would not celebrate Christmas, but rather rebuke it. Like, share, and subscribe to Truth Shall Prevail.